We're live.
We're live.
For the second time.
Episode 2, number live 2 episode.
What episode is this? Is this 24?
So this is Electric Skatecast Season 3, Episode 4. Or if you're going by episodes concurrent, it's episode 24.
Man.
So yeah, we're getting up there. We're gonna get to triple digits one day.
And we've been doing this for a year and a half now. It's crazy.
It doesn't feel like it, but yeah, it goes by really fast, and every week or every other week when we finally get to recording and doing this, it's like, holy cow.
I feel
2
like,
weeks just flew by.
Exactly. I feel like we're still just figuring it out,
Yeah.
It feels like we just started, on that kitchen table like
Right.
a year and a half ago.
Yeah, no, we absolutely, we started at a like rinky-dink kitchen table from like wish.com.
Yeah, no, really. It
And,
honestly was a kitchen
And now
table.
we have like a makeshift studio. And it's crazy, man.
And we're live
Absolutely
on YouTube.
crazy. And we're live on YouTube
Well,
for the second time.
And this works out perfectly because I actually tonight will be kind of like commandeering the show and be asking you some questions, both some e-skate, some podcast related questions.
Okay.
So it's actually going to be kind of related to kind of what we just started talking about, how we got everything started here with you creating Electric Skatecast. For those of you just tuning in, I am a co-host, and co-producer, co-founder, Terminal X.
Yep.
And with me is the founder, creator.
How we doing?
The editor, the man behind the madness, Joseph, or J Grand GR as he's known throughout the interwebs.
Yep. Happy to be here.
Exactly, right? This is fun. So normally he does all the introductions, kind of tells us how the show's going to go. But tonight I'm taking over and giving him a night off. So I've got all the topics and the questions, and we're going to do kind of a deep dive into content creation for eSkate from the perspective of the Electric Skatecast founder to my left. And then I've got some rapid fire questions for you, just like we did last week for me. I've got a whole list here of eSkate rapid fire questions.
I'm ready.
Because you're obviously have been doing eSkate for so long, you know what's going on. Your fingers to the pulse. So I want to get your opinion on some good questions here that need answering.
Guess we'll see what happens.
They need to be answered, exactly. So I mean, we mentioned this earlier. We've been doing this podcast for like a year and a half. Now, give or take.
Yep.
And we're on a studio now. We're doing live YouTube. We've got big names coming down the pipeline.
Yep.
We've already got some massive, like mind-blowing names, like never in a million years.
I never would have thought.
Never would have thought that these people would have been interviewed by us.
I would argue we got lucky.
Yes. And in this business, it's not just what you know, it's who you know.
And reaching out to them at the right point in time.
Exactly, yeah.
Where they're free and they're able to do an interview or answer questions or whatever. Yeah.
Can you believe that we did like Boosted USA, like creator, like their first week in
like
business?
Literally the first week that Boosted USA was around,
Oh
we
God.
reached out to Brian and was like, all right, I'll go on the show. He probably thought we were a lot bigger than we were.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, we definitely
but it worked out. I mean, it's probably one of our top listened to podcasts to date. So shout out to Boosted USA for pumping those numbers up.
To this day, man. To this day, wild. Like,
no complaints though.
Yeah.
It was a great interview, and overall, I think Brian's a good guy. I don't know like what's going on in Boosted USA anymore. I haven't tried to touch base with them, but at the time, it sounded like he knew what he was doing, and he really wanted to give back. So
at the time, it was all the rage. At the time, like everybody was like Boosted's
alive,
yeah. And like this guy's like some thought he was like betraying the community and ripping people off. Some people thought he was like the lone savior, redeeming Boosted for the people. Yeah. What a wild time in eSkate.
Well,
now, and that brings me to my first question for you here.
Okay.
Where do you see this podcast in 5 years?
So in 5 years, I'd love to be in like an actual dedicated studio.
Sure.
I think if we can get to the point where we're no longer, podcasting out of someone's home studio or, in a garage or where, like, I'd rather us be in an actual studio. Even if it's like a rented space that we do on like a weekly basis, because those do exist. You can go to different studios where you rent out the studio space for like a day, and it would be great to be able to do that. Have someone like come out to the show, be on the show, and actually be in person, because as much as like digital is kind of the way to go right now with COVID and everything, I really hope that in 5 years that doesn't exist.
Facts.
We're at a point where we can actually have people in the studio space with us, and we can go live do the whole thing like that.
Preach it.
So yeah, I think that would be ideal. And hopefully by that point, we'll either have sponsors enough that are able to cover some of the expenses, because right now it's just kind of a hobby.
Sure.
And you pay for your hobbies typically. Most people pay for their hobbies. That's why it's called a hobby.
Yep.
But I would love it if I could get to a point where I'm at least going even.
Right.
It's not a big deal to like spend the extra money because I love doing this.
Yeah.
But it would be great to break even every month. And yeah, I think that's like a humble goal. I don't think we need to be like a mega show and have producers and a whole crew, but it would be great to just be making enough to break even or just like reduce our costs a little bit.
Sure. I just want my own makeup artist and trailer.
I mean, we can probably do that now.
You know,
it'll be a little tiny trailer, like a little red wagon, but
right, exactly.
But yeah, we could probably find someone off the street that'll do your makeup.
Exactly. Yeah.
Powder your TSG logos and
exactly.
Shine your shield.
Yeah, exactly. Make sure it's squeaky clean. E-boarder over here says, "Why is it so dark, man?" I don't know. Is it dark? We've got these two lights kind of like coming down at me.
Yeah, I don't know why it's so dark.
You can see like the light in my reflection. Like we've got lights in here. I don't know.
Yeah, we need. I guess the next thing we need to invest in is some studio lights.
Yeah, even a couple of ring lights would get the job done.
Yeah,
maybe if you minimize that one tab over there, you'll get that white background.
So let me see if I can do that. We'll do this, and we'll do that. Maybe that helps.
I don't know. Let us know, E-boarder. Shout out to E-boarder. He is like the fucking faithful dude, always in my.
One of our most dedicated followers, I would say.
Oh, for sure. He's the informant. He's got great perspectives on stuff.
Yeah.
He's all over the internet related to Eastgate. I mean, I'm telling you, man, he is like absolutely essential to like how I run like my business on the Terminal X side of things. So shout out to E-boarder.
Yeah.
Make sure you go find him on Instagram. If not, he'll probably come find you, to be honest. But anyways, so yeah, I'm with you on the 5 years. I think that's a good goal.
Yeah. And
I think that the sponsorships are accurate. I would love to reach out to some bigger names too, with some other company owners. I would love to get get some big names out here like Ernesto, Alex from La Croix.
I mean, they could be coming.
Who knows? I would love to get some economy board owners out here too, like X-Way, Backfire, Meepo. I mean, they've got a whole separate outlook on this game.
Oh, absolutely. I think it would be pretty realistic to get somebody like Kieran on.
For sure.
His English is drastically improved, so I think we actually probably could do that.
Yeah.
Be able to ask him some of the questions that people really want to know about how things work over there and how they're kind of planning for the future. Because they kind of are steering the course right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
The economy boards are the ones that are literally inspiring other economy boards to exist or to change or use different drivetrains. So yeah, I think it'd be cool to get somebody from one of those economy brands on the show. And hopefully they have time. I mean, that's the biggest thing with them is
the time difference. Yeah. And for those of you listening, we generally send questions out to people beforehand and make sure that everybody's cool with the topics. We're not trying to like catch people off guard.
Yeah.
So we would obviously do something similar. We would send the topics out in advance and make sure everybody's cool with what's about to be talked about.
Yeah.
But I mean, like what you just mentioned is a good point. Before the show went live, you and I were talking about, the X-Way Atlas with their price and how close it's getting to the La Croix Jaws price.
Yeah. For the 4-wheel drive Atlas, it's like $2,100 US dollars. It's a lot.
Yeah, and the La Croix, I think I checked, is like $2,600, give or take.
Yeah, so I mean, add another $400 or $500, and you can get yourself the baseline La Croix, and you could even get a Metro board. You could get
Who would have thought, man? Like 2, 3, 4 years ago, that like
X-Way didn't. I mean, they may have existed, but they weren't a prominent enough. Nobody knew about X-Way until maybe 2 years ago, a year ago, maybe.
Yep, the X1 Pro, was what kind of their first big board.
Yeah,
and I'll be honest, man. Like, I never in a million years would have thought that like La Croix, an X-Way, or an economy board manufacturer would be within like like this close
Yeah.
of like being competitive.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
who knows what next year's gonna bring, man.
Yeah, I mean, with the thing that's cool about a lot of the economy boards is they have such quick access to the newest technology because in most cases they're the ones that are developing the technology or manufacturing it at least,
or it's manufactured next door.
And even I'm sure there's even parts, and I could be wrong on some of the higher end boards that are manufactured in China. It's just kind of how it is. And almost everybody gets I think everybody gets their batteries from China. I don't think there's a single company that doesn't get their batteries from China.
Like the physical cell
the
itself.
actual physical cell. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. And as we learned from Shy Battery System, like there's like different grades of cells,
Right.
even if it's like this, like a certain, like,
Right.
oh, it's a Samsung battery or it's a, whatever,
Right.
P42.
Yeah, there's like the A stock and there's the B stock.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
a lot of the lower end economy companies, Timo, J King, whatever other random name places that come up, though they're the ones that are using like the B and the C cells.
Yep.
And then you get your people like Meepo, Xway, LaCroix, Cali. They're all using the A stock.
Right.
Like Shy Batteries uses the A stock only. They don't accept anything below like the best stock of any
Right.
given cell. So
Yeah, of course. Obligatory shout out to Shy Battery
Yeah.
Systems.
keeping the world moving.
So, real quick, so we talked to a couple guests that were we
Right.
have a couple guests that we just like name drop that are kind of within arm's reach for this
Yep.
podcast.
Yep.
And we've talked about them outside the show, like in person, just like trying to figure out who we can get on the show. But what are some like dream guests? So like picture 5 years from now, who's on this show?
Dream
some-
guess, yeah.
Like, and I mean like swing for the stars on this one.
So I would love to have Daniel Kwan on.
Sure.
I wouldn't necessarily say that he's a dream guest. I think he's a big personality.
Mhm.
But I think he would be somebody that has a lot of insight.
Oh yeah.
And he doesn't do a ton of interviews.
No.
He's
Definitely
very
doesn't.
much in his bubble of creativity, where he reviews boards, talks about new content boards that are coming out.
Yep.
And that's cool. Like, good for him for finding his niche.
For sure.
But I would love to kind of dig into who he is. How did he get where he is? How did he get into eSkate? Because I don't know.
The connections he has.
And
yeah.
like how did you get started? I think that's the kind of stuff that people want to know.
Mhm.
And that's kind of what our show is about. It's not so much like, hey, like here's product that we make. Look at how great our product is.
Right.
We want to know who's behind the product, why they came up with what they did, where they started. It's very much about like origin stories for us.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I think Daniel Kwan would be a really cool person to have on the show. There's so many people. Alex from LaCroix, definitely want to have him on.
So he's a dream guest. Okay.
Definitely a dream guest. I feel like he has developed something that's so unique that people talk about it like it's a white buffalo. It doesn't really exist.
Right.
Or at least that when they first started, that's how they talked about it. So I think having him on to kind of talk about his background and how he got into it. And again, I don't like having people come on and just like plug what they're doing. I want to hear about their origins,
Their journey.
I want to know about their journey because eSkate is so young, and a lot of the people that are in this scene are sub 30.
Yep.
Maybe sub 40 is probably the safest bet, but like most people are under 40 that are into eSkate or running eSkate right now. Whereas when you look at big, large corporations in America, at least, it's all like 60, 70, 80-year-old guys that are running things.
Yeah, just crunching numbers.
And they're just crunching numbers, finding people that are good at what they do. But
Exactly.
with eSkate, people that are in the scene are a part of it. They're riders like us.
Yep.
They know what they want.
Yep.
So being able to have people like that on would be huge.
Yeah.
Gosh, who else? I feel like there's so many people out there that I want to have on the show.
Oh, I mean, I'll name drop one. I want Tony Hawk on this show.
Tony Hawk could be pretty cool.
I want to sell him on electric on this show.
Yeah,
on real electric.
Well, and he recently was in the like Mercedes commercial, and
Yeah,
I don't think Tony Hawk was actually riding the electric skateboard. If you go back and you watch the video, they never show his face actually riding it. So yeah, Tony Hawk would be cool. He also did the Tony Hawk like boosted, like the Birdman or Birdhouse boosted special edition stuff. So I kind of like to know what happened to that. why he chose boosted, why he didn't go with somebody else. Yeah, Tony Hawk would be
Oh yeah,
that would be like maybe at 5 years we can do that.
Yeah, for sure.
Have him out to the studio.
Or like an Olympian like snowboarder that I'm like.
I think really honestly getting anybody, not necessarily like celebrities. I'm not looking to just have celebrities, but being able to get people that aren't necessarily a part of the e-skate scene, but are like, yeah, well, I ride boosted board. I bought a boosted board back when they were like first around, and it could be like some random NFL player that's like, yeah, you know, I thought boosteds were sweet, so I bought one and I rode it, and now I ride this. I think it'd be cool to get more of those everyday people that are also like big names, that you wouldn't expect to be a part of e-skate, and kind of hearing how they got into it.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
Because it's about the community. It's not just about like the companies. Like I don't want to just dive into companies and their origins. I also want to talk to like everyday riders, which is why we like had people like Skate Naked on. Like Lisa was fantastic. She was one of the newer like up and coming people, and now she's huge and like has a cult following, I would say. And
I wouldn't deny
hopefully she recovers fast. She had an injury recently, so
I feel it.
Yeah, so hopefully she can get back to riding soon. But yeah, people like that. I want to have everyday riders, not just the big names. So
now, you mentioned, you know, the finding people like that were low key famous, but we're also avid e-skaters. You know, I bought boosted years ago. And I've just been riding it, you know, and now I ride this. You're one of those people, I would argue. You're one of those people that like, you know, Electric Skate Cast has been around for a year and a half. You've been in my YouTube videos for years now. You're a name brand now, but you're still rocking the OG boosted V2.
Yeah, I am still rocking the OG boosted.
Can you hint for the audience at your next board eventually? Because we know the day's coming.
Yeah. So depending on some investments that I have, hopefully I'm going to be building like my own custom LaCroix, a LaCroix. Maybe I'll call it the LaCroix and I'll like paint a LaCroix can on the bottom or something.
I like where your head's at. Sender Skates.
Get
a custom deck with like the LaCroix logo.
And it would be like the LaCroix logo, but it would be J Grand GR instead of like the LaCroix.
Okay.
So maybe something like that.
This is good.
But yeah, so I want to build my own custom LaCroix. I want to use their deck and their kind of layout. But I want to use beefier motors. I want to get a bigger battery. Because their batteries are great. Nothing wrong with them, but I can go to Shy Battery and have them build me a monster battery that's even better. And for me, it's not just going to be about top speed. I want to be able to just go for like 60, 70, 80, maybe even 100 miles. Because I really want to create like a cruiser deck kind of setup where I can skate pack. So I'm an avid backpacker, which a lot of people probably don't know. But I want to be able to start skate packing like super long distances. I would love for this show to kind of be on the road and at least part of it where we ride for like super long distances. And we ride out to like California. We're like, hey, we're going to go ride to all these different riders in California. And that would be like a season. Like we're going to ride the West Coast and we're going to ride from point A to point B. There's some guys that did it recently. They kind of had a car backup where they would like swap batteries and stuff like that. But I want to be like pure e-skate, like no backups. You're on e-skate. You have to carry everything you need. If your board breaks down, you got to stop and get parts, that kind of thing. So I want this board to be able to kind of handle that all-terrain, long distance, long mileage kind of tracks.
Almost like an expedition board.
Yeah, an expedition board. That's a good way of putting it. But I want it to be on that LaCroix framework. So using something similar to their deck, something similar to their enclosure. The way that they have the MBS trucks, I like those, especially because I can use like Skate Castle conversion kits and put urethane on there. So that way I can swap between urethane and pneumatics depending on the terrain I'm on.
And save some range where you can afford it.
Exactly. And I'm a really big urethane fan. I understand why people like pneumatics. I get that. But urethane, the way that it carves is just so much better. Prove me wrong, but
it's true.
I just love urethane. So being able to have a strong urethane deck that I can swap between those and all-terrain wheels when I need them, like if we get on dirt roads or something like that. So
that's a pretty crispy setup. I think so. Obviously, I've got my own projects going on, but even though I've said over and over that what I've got working on will be the final board I'll ever own, Like I've already got like plans for something.
Oh yeah.
Something it's more in the direction of
Yeah.
what you're going for there. I've even already got the name picked out for it and everything because that's just how my mind works.
Yeah.
But you should reach out to Suicide Shots. For those of you unfamiliar, he's been a guest
Yep.
on here before. He's a content creator down in Chicago, one of the best photographers in the game, period. He had a custom Lone Star build with Shy battery systems, of course.
Yep.
And I believe he gets 100 miles of range going at a fairly good top speed.
Yeah.
And it sounds right up your alley. It sounds like an expedition
That's
board.
really what I want. And he also got I've seen his board recently. He's got a really cool little LED display on the front that tells him like his miles per hour, like tells him his range. It's got like all of his details right on there, and it's like a little LED screen.
Oh, yeah, I've seen those before.
And it's so cool. So I definitely want something like that. But I also want to build just like an everyday like cruiser deck. So even if that means like just buying like a Revel kit and throwing it onto my loaded deck that I have in the corner of the room right now, something that I can just quick throw out, ride it. Because that's kind of what the Boosted is for me right now. I can just throw it on the ground and ride. I know it's going to work every time I use it.
Yeah, no fuss.
Exactly. So I think getting to that point where I can have another board like that, and then I can maybe retire the Boosted and hang it up for its final trip, which will be a sad day.
It will be a sad day.
We'll have to have like a memorial or something.
We will.
But yeah, that thing's got probably close to 3,000 kilometers on it now. So it's up there. But we'll see.
Okay.
Time will tell.
There you go. I mean, you're one of the few like loyal, dedicated Boosted people hanging on. Most people have like you and XR General Hospital. He goes by technically a Nomad. He fixes the red light of death batteries.
He's still riding Boosted as well.
He is hardcore Boosted. He's adamant that he's going to crack the Boosted code and he could bring Boosted back.
Yeah.
Or, well, he already fixed it.
If he breaks the Boosted code, well then maybe I'll stay Boosted, because then that means I can put any size battery I want on my Boosted board.
Mm-hmm.
I can unlock speed modes, because what I like about Boosted is the remote, and nobody has that.
Nope, not even close.
Even Hoyt, like their Hoyt puck is fantastic. Huge shout out to Hoyt Street, like for doing an amazing job with a VESC based puck, but it's not a booster remote.
Nope.
So if I could figure out how to put a white puck into a booster remote, then maybe we'd be talking.
They have some 3D printed like hand triggers.
Yeah, it's not the same.
I know it's not the same.
It's not the same.
I know it's not the same. Well, I like this hint. I mean, based on I know how you skate, and I've known you for a few years now. I think you're headed in the right direction.
Yeah.
And
well, I'm a very confident rider, so I need something that can meet that confidence level,
right?
And maybe kind of push my boundaries.
Sure, future proofing a little.
Exactly.
Yeah. At least keep you occupied for the next few years.
Yep.
Before we all switch to like electric hoverboards.
Yeah.
Speaking of 5 years down the road.
Yeah.
So this next segment that I've got here mapped out for you is it's not a carbon copy, but it's a rapid fire segment where I kind of just like throw these options at you, A or B, yes or no.
All right.
And then depending on your answer, we might like, if I find it mildly interesting or surprising, then I'm going to like
dive deeper.
Exactly. Dive deeper.
Spread the web out.
Exactly.
The
Yeah.
multiverse.
Yeah. Open that gap up a little more. Give me more details. So, here we go. Some of these questions I actually are kind of long, but
that's okay.
The answers are short.
I'm good with it. Yeah.
The answers are short. All right. So you have to nominate any other former guest to host the podcast for one episode. Who would it be?
Oh man. That's a hard question, because we've had some really amazing guests on.
Yep. And who's going to host? Who's going to be the host?
And it's who's going to be the host. Honestly, I'd probably go with Nick, only because he has so much energy, and he has so much going on in his head all the time, and he is such an intuitive person, creative person, that I think he would do the podcast justice. I think he would know some of those like OG guys that have been around since the beginning, like he has.
Yeah,
and he would be like, yeah, I'm going to have these people on, these people on, these people on. We're going to do like a big marathon episode. And it's going to be insane. We're going to have my buddy from this job on, and we're going to go do this, and we're going to talk about this. And he would have it all planned out down to every detail.
Oh, for sure.
Because he's an absolute OG. He knows everything.
Oh yeah. Shout out Skate Electric.
That needs to know. So yeah, shout out to Skate Electric and Nick. But yeah, I think Nick would be a really good
and a British
guest host
too.
Yeah.
Oh, just music to my ears.
Yeah, and then we could get some more people like eBoarder on. We could get Sublime Eskate, John Parvin.
Oh, there you go.
All sorts of different people that are kind of in that that realm that
exactly.
We can talk to them, but it's hard to get them on the show just based off time differences and
for sure
a UK
takeover.
But yeah, a UK takeover for one episode would be pretty cool.
Oh yeah, it would be God Save the Queen.
Yeah, we could even have like a little UK British intro on the live episode, and,
like the British,
really do it up. Yeah,
yeah, I love it. I'm there for it. Okay. Next question. That was a good answer.
Yeah.
Your board breaks tomorrow and you need it to commute. What production board are you buying to replace it?
Production board buying to replace. I would probably go with something that's reliable and has good customer service in the area. So for me, and you're talking about like economy boards, right?
It doesn't have to be, but I mean, your budget mentally if you're like, oh, yeah, I gotta grab this board real quick.
Yeah, if I just had to buy a board real quick and get it out the door and ride, I'd probably go with a Backfire.
Like a Zealot?
Yeah, Zealot, just because it's so easily accessible.
Yep.
And again, they have that repair center here in the United States. So for longevity purposes, the Backfire would probably be a good option. But if I was willing to spend a little bit more money, I'd probably get a Hoyt, just because they're like the Cadillac of Eastgate.
For sure.
They're just so smooth. They have really good customer service. They're based out of the United States.
Yep.
They have the Hoyt puck. They're constantly making improvements.
Yep.
So yeah, Hoyt would. If I was going to spend more money, I'd go with the Hoyt. If I was trying to be economy, I'd go with the Backfire.
Yeah, shout out to both of those companies for knocking it out of the park in different ways.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know Backfire personally. I've worked with Hoyt Street like mildly personally, like off the air. We interviewed one of their ambassadors not too long ago.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're
shout
absolutely right.
Yeah, that person, Chris.
Yeah, that person.
Super cool guy.
Yeah, no, he's speaking of OGs. Man,
yeah,
he's got some crazy stories. Him and Nick as a co-host.
Yeah, we need to get them on the show together.
Those two as like a co-host or co-guest would be the stories they could come up with would just be wild.
Yeah, they just got a lot.
And yeah, no, shout out to Hoyt Skate.
Yeah.
I feel like, man, and I know the stuff that they got coming out too is just earth shattering. So shout out to them.
Yep.
Backfire. I feel like everybody hyped up X-Way when the Flex came out and whatnot, and Boosted went under, and X-Way kind of just took this position of like, we're going to dominate.
Yeah, we're going to dominate.
We're going to take over what Boosted left behind. And I feel like Backfire was more subtle about it, and they kind of went across like, we want the better customer service. Our boards are going to be actually like maybe even like pushing the spec boundaries a little bit, compared to X-Way in terms of like battery and range. And
well, and they had their custom Hobby Wing ESCs, and they have their app, and they have all sorts of different things that kind of set them apart. But they lack a US based hub. And that's such a big market. Like you really need that.
Yep.
Like I know they have like X-Way Spain, and they have like different X-Way hubs kind of throughout Europe, but to my knowledge, I could be wrong. To my knowledge, they don't have anything in the United States. They ship everything in probably to California to like a warehouse.
Right. And
then it just goes out to different parts of the United States.
And that would be my like question to any listeners or any followers. And shoot me a message or Joseph a message.
Yep.
If you've had an experience with that Backfire service center I believe it's in Virginia. If you've had an experience with it, or you have like some kind of documented like somebody else's experience, like send it to me, because I'm genuinely curious like what that's like to have a Chinese.
How long is it gone? Like how soon do you get your board back? That's my biggest question.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, what's the experience like? What's the communication like? Are they actually fixing it? How successful is it? How good is the experience overall? Because like I feel like Backfire comes kind of almost not underdog, but like they come in more low key with it.
They do, absolutely.
But again, and I know people who rock Backfire heavy. And
I mean, a couple of our guests we've had on are very big Backfire supporters.
Oh yeah, and I trust their opinion with a heavy amount of weight in terms of like an economy board option. Yeah. And I feel like Backfire just plays it more subtle, more laid back. They don't have like crazy YouTube campaigns compared to people like X-Way.
Yeah, I mean, even Meepo, they were really pushing hard with YouTube videos for a while, where Kieran would like talk about the boards, do unboxings.
I miss those.
Then they were also doing like their Instagram videos of like their new releases, like they have the Hot Rod or whatever it's called
Roadster.
coming out. The Roadster, yeah.
I want to see a Roadster in action, to be honest.
But yeah, having that kind of stuff on Instagram for them was like a big push. But Backfire, every once in a while you'll see a video from, I don't remember his name. They have that one guy with like the grayish hair.
He's like an old school skater.
Yeah, old school skater guy. Yeah, and he would do videos, but I haven't seen one of those in a while. So I think Backfire's kind of laying it low key right now. I think they're kind of waiting to see how the X-Way Atlas release goes, and then I would expect you'll probably see a 4-wheel drive Ranger soon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that would be a fun board to try out.
And it'll have lots of LEDs on the bottom.
Oh, well, you got to. I mean, that's what the Zealot has.
Yep.
Okay, well, those are good answers. All right, here we go. Best music to listen to for riding e-skate.
So it depends on the riding. If it's just me like solo cruising, I put on that lo-fi like playlist, and it's really just about that vibe of like super like low key beats where you can just kind of carve right with the beat.
I'm with you.
And it feels so good. You get it on like a nice bike trail. So yeah, lo-fi for carving and like solo riding. If I'm trying to get like hyped up and I'm riding with the group, but it's like a small group, then I'm going to put on some like Childish Gambino, maybe some J. Cole.
Shout out J. Cole, new album release.
Because that stuff is like, it just gets you hyped, but not so hyped that you're like, I need to like crash or like do something stupid. Like it's just hype enough where you're like, yeah, me and the guys are cruising. We're going to go fast. We're going to have a good time. No one's going to get hurt. And it's just very chill and very real. Like they are some of the most real artists out there to me.
For sure. Kendrick too, of course.
Not that I know like a ton about like what they've lived through or anything, but when you listen to their music, it's just so like raw. And I appreciate that about them.
Okay.
But yeah, Kendrick for sure as well. And then if it's just large group ride, no music. When we're in a large group ride, it's pretty much just Terminal X in my ear, constantly talking. And it's like random YouTube nonsense. So that's kind of like music.
Yeah.
But
background noise.
Yeah, it's just background noise
at
that
just
point.
Ranting or like talking about random stuff or like pointing out random funny things
or
on the
dogs,
street.
just like please don't eat me.
Please don't
stuff
eat
like
me.
That. Yeah.
That running joke.
Yep.
Okay. Night rides in the city or warm fall day rides on Michigan bike trails?
So that's a tough call.
Two very different but very loved vibes.
Yeah. So yeah, again, it depends. So if we're in a small group and we can zip around the city and like not get into trouble, because we've done big group rides in the city at night. And for some reason they always draw attention, and shocking, right? And not always good attention. So if it's a small group ride, I would say nights. But when we have those bigger groups where we're just kind of like taking over the bike trail, I would love to do those in the fall, like just long rides on the bike trails. Because when you get a big group on a bike trail, you just kind of like take over. And there's no cars to separate you, and you can keep the group together a lot easier.
Exactly.
So yeah, that would be my answer for that one.
Okay. Good answer. Which was a bigger crash and burn, Jetboards or Raptor Inertian?
So
like considering all the fallout,
Yeah.
all the money, all the customers, all the problems.
I'm going to go with Inertian and the Raptor because they released products that were super duper like crap. Whereas like Jetboard, you never even got a product.
Right. You never got to experience it.
So I don't think that's really a crash and burn. That's more of just a scam.
Right.
So I think Jetboard is a scam and still is. I think they're still taking people's money, honestly. You probably can still pre-order a Jetboard.
I did the research before it because I was curious. They took the add to cart button off. Their last post, I want to say, was somewhere between June and August of last year.
Okay.
They were still
teasing it.
They were still teasing stuff. They were coming up with like a manual for the board, and everybody's like, "Are you kidding me?"
Yeah. So again, Jetboard is a scam. Inertian though, that's a big crash and burn.
Disaster.
I don't care which side of that argument you're on, but like everybody involved in that project like messed up somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it was the owner or the engineers, it doesn't really matter at this point. They took people's money and they ran away with it. And it's just unfortunate.
Right.
I know a lot of people have been burned by Raptor or Inertian, and they like don't talk about it anymore because they're just so fed up with what Inertian did.
Yeah, and it's easy. It's a common, counter argument for people that are like clearly in the wrong in a big way. to go find other people that are in the wrong in a small way.
Oh yeah.
And to hold them up and be like, nope.
That's the guy.
And it's clearly not equivocal.
Yeah.
It's clearly not in any way. Now, it doesn't excuse that other person. Sure. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, whatever. But hold on a second. This isn't, we'll deal with them in a separate manner. You clearly scammed people out of money or took money and then weren't able to deliver on promises that you said that you could, which is AKA a scam. Especially if you did it knowingly, obviously.
Well, and I think he's trying to do it again. He has like a DIY electric skateboard Instagram where he like
builder.
Yeah, eSkate Builder, that's what it is.
Oh yeah.
And he like posts other people's content and like does giveaways of like Max Find.
Brilliant marketing.
I mean, like you can straight up go on Alibaba and buy a stock of like 600 Max Find boards for like $300.
Oh,
so like I guess I don't understand what they're trying to do.
He's probably pimping out his account as like a marketing tool or a branding tool, to be honest.
Yeah.
To these other companies that these economy or these
and he's got a following because he posts good content from lots of people instead of just his own good content. Like he doesn't post his own good content. It's other people's great content, and then he tags their photo and is like, photo credit, but it's like, but you're the one getting all the clout. You're the one that's getting the follows and the likes. The guy that you tagged, like they probably won't even go look at his page.
Exactly. They shouldn't.
Whereas like when we shout out people, we're like, go follow this person, like go to Suicide Shots, look at all of his content, like hire him to do your stuff. Like Shy Battery Systems. We're not even sponsored by Shy Battery Systems, but we shout them out all the time because of their business model and who they are.
Exactly.
Whereas like eSkate Builder would be like, these batteries are great. Look at how great these batteries are that I have. Right. Oh, by the way, they're from this company. It's like, Yeah. So I say Inertian is the one that crashed and burned hard and are still burning. They're still in the stratosphere, burning their way down. Oh God, constantly.
What a hot mess.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no question. He's a really good marketer, like PR person, like brand.
Yeah.
I think honestly, like if he had, how do I phrase this without like giving him any like credit or like
well, and I don't have anything necessarily against him as a person. I don't know him as a person, so I can't
know people
judge
that have
him as a person.
Problems with him as a person,
but I personally
can't
judge him as a person. But the way that he conducts his business, I don't agree with.
Exactly. I feel like if I don't consider him like a good business person, I don't consider him a good engineer, and based on like how he handled the situation, I don't deem him like as a super like ethically correct person.
Right.
I think if you were to turn back the clock and like put this individual that owned Inertian under the wings of somebody with a different ethical framework, with a different business framework, and said your PR, like marketing, business management, but at the end of the day, like you work for me, I think he would have done better under another brand.
I mean, I agree. I think not again talking of Shy Batteries, but look at Shy Batteries.
Yep.
Right. They have Bera, who's this like super genius when it comes to business.
Big facts.
He knows what he's doing. He's smart. He knows the product in and out. He could probably build a battery for literally anything. And then he was like, I'm not the world's best marketer. Like that's not what I do.
Sure.
So he brought in somebody who's really good at marketing, has been creating amazing Instagram content, does really awesome videos. They've been doing like how it's made style videos and stuff like that. And eBoard Brandon has crushed it. Like that.
Absolutely.
That's eBoard Brandon. Like
without a doubt.
eBoard Brandon is a marketing genius, and he's so young that
he's just
5 years. Like, oh my gosh,
we're just getting started.
Yeah,
we're just seeing the tip of the iceberg. Yeah, and I mean, you and I know how Shy Battery Systems works. Off the air, like when the cameras are off, and the promos go away. Brandon.
Right.
When eBoard Brandon goes home for the day,
he's just an everyday dude.
Yeah. But when he does go home for the day, Shy Battery System is still like a productive, ethical, like
good
positive company.
Yeah,
Not just because eBoard Brandon's out there pushing good content for them, which he is. Shout out to him, of course. But because at the end of the day, the core business model that Bera set up and kind of the how we do things has that ethical framework that Inertian didn't have.
Right.
And of course, as he has often said, and we never try to push Bera to talk about the Inertian days because obviously those were tough days.
Yeah.
But when he said like, "Hey, everything that Inertian did, I set up Shy Battery to do the opposite."
Yeah.
Like no wonder
it shows.
No wonder exactly. No wonder
Yeah.
there's a difference in how the companies run.
Yeah.
And again, of course, like I said, we're not sponsored by them in any way. We're not.
Yeah, it's crazy when you treat your customers right and take care of them no matter what.
Yep.
You have a good business model.
Yep.
What?
Exactly.
That's crazy.
Exactly. And I know like Chinese factory owners that have private messaged me and said we want to work with Shy Battery because we see what the community's about and how much they love them. And I said, listen, like, you can try to work with these guys. Obviously, Shy Battery is going to do what they're going to do. And I said, but at the end of the day, like you have to understand like the why behind the why,
right?
As to why Shy Battery Systems is so successful.
Right.
This is not a plug and play spreadsheet formula that's going on here. And that's what I've been trying to explain to these factory owners. Like, listen, there's a passion and an ethical framework in how they work with people and customers in the community that you can't quantify. You can't.
Mm-hmm.
What's the word? Copy and paste this without following.
It's not just a formula that can be inserted anywhere.
Exactly.
It's so unique,
Yep.
And that's what separates them
exactly
from everybody else.
Especially Inertian.
Yeah, especially Inertian.
Okay, all right. Sorry for that rabbit trail there, but I just like to rant about how Shy Battery systems is.
Absolutely.
And how bad Inertian was. Oh God. Here we go. What Eastgate company had the biggest product win of 2020? Who came out on top? All things considered, value, customer fanfare, actual product success. Who delivered on top? Who took the MVP award home? What company? All things considered, of course.
Yeah.
Because not all boards are equal.
Does it have to be a board company or can it be like an accessory company?
I'll allow it. I'll allow it.
So if I want to say the company that's delivered on what they wanted and is like actually a good product and has good quality assurance and all that kind of stuff, I would say huge shout out to Shredlights for the SL1000.
Yep, for sure.
That thing is absolutely insane. The difference between the SL200 and the SL1000 is the most noticeable difference in a product in 2021, like so far. I mean, there's still a lot of time. But right now, Shredlights, like they delivered on a product that they said they were going to deliver. They're creating more products. And the fact that they, for the first time, have a lineup of more than just one product is crazy and good. But if we're going with a board company, shoot, I don't know. Board companies are they're so back and forth. Sometimes they have really good stuff and then they'll like be like, oh, our ESCs are burning up or so it's like I want to say like honestly, like Cali's probably got it's the XLR, right? Like
SLR, but yeah.
SLR, yeah. So yeah, that's a really good product.
That's a bad board, man.
And nobody has issues with it.
No, I don't know if
that I know of yet. That I have heard of.
I'm not sure if anybody has one yet.
Well, just in general, like Cali puts out really good product. You don't hear bad things about Cali, or Cali's braking, or their motors being bad, or their gear drive, or pneumatic. Like everything they put out, to my knowledge, Ernesto puts everything out, and it's good.
Yeah.
I've never ridden one. I want to.
He takes good care of his people.
He takes really good care of his people, and he doesn't cause drama with other creators and companies. So I think that alone goes a long way. So so I would say like board company, I'm going to say Cali. But if I'm going accessory company, I'm going to say Shredlight.
That's a good answer. And so like I've met Ernesto once. And like the genuine, like kind-hearted, wholesome, like input and feedback he gives people, and his input into the community, is real. It's genuine. He's not shilling.
Right.
When I like I said, I saw him, behind the scenes, off the air in New York City, like with the New York City crew. He's the real deal. Yeah. So you have that. You have on top of that, he's obviously like. He's a great builder. Yeah, absolutely. He's got a good engineering mindset. He has a lot of custom parts that he does now. Yep. And I think he's got a winning combination. And my ultimate question to him, and I want him on the show, is how do you do it with just like the small scale that you have?
Yeah, that's true. It's very
How
small
do you
scale.
answer everybody's questions? How do you answer my questions? I don't even own a Cali board, and I still get questions answered from him sometimes. Like,
Well, and he also does like Instagram lives where he's like riding around in like New York City, and it's like, how do you ride, answer questions, and somehow still have time to like make boards and have a family?
And spend time with your family. Yeah,
he's got so much going on.
Please adopt me, Ernesto. Please, I will be.
Yeah, you can adopt Electric Skatecast if you want.
Yeah, you could adopt us.
You can be our Skatecast dad.
Yeah. Because Oh, by the way, do you know who has a Cali board? Speaking of famous people that ride e-skate, you know who has a Cali board?
No, I mean lots of people, but
no, a famous person. You're not going to believe this, but
Ariana Grande.
There's no, that would be interesting.
Well.
I have photo proof of this though. Shaquille O'Neal, true story, has a Cali board.
I can see it.
A true story.
It's one of the few boards that can actually support his weight.
And I want Ernesto on the show. I want him to sit at that chair there and explain how he got Shaquille O'Neal to get a Cali board.
Yeah, I mean, I think what it does come down to, at least with Shaq, he's a big dude.
Oh yeah.
So you have to have a board that can actually support that weight. And a Cali deck, because they use Trampa decks, I believe. They're probably one of the few decks that actually can support someone of Shaq's size.
Also, fun fact for Cali, last year, one of his boards made Time Magazine.
See, there you go.
It's true story. There was a guy riding around with like a Biden Harris political presidential election flag, like riding around DC.
Probably on a Cali.
And Washington DC has a very fervent Cali fan base because it's proximity to New York City.
Yeah, it's close by.
Exactly, and there's a lot of like back and forth between those two cities for group events.
Right.
So yeah, they actually captured a photo like during like a big event of DC
Cali
merged with like some like political event, and
that's what I'm saying.
One of the guys was in a TSG pass rolling down the street with like a Biden Harris flag on a Cali NYC board, and he just got swamped with photographers. People were like, "What is this?" And
I can see that.
Oh, yeah, with the camera.
Yeah. Well, and they're kind of out there. They they don't look like a regular longboard.
I love it.
They're like kind of a monster truck of e-skate.
And I love that deck shape.
So
too,
I think
deck.
I mean, it's like a LaCroix. Like they both have that monster truck look to them.
Love it. I'm there for it.
So yeah, I think Cali would probably be my top board company for.
Congrats to Ernesto for taking the J Grand GR MVP 2020.
It's a prestigious award that very few people have ever received.
You know what we should do? At the end of every year, we should do like a e-skate awards show,
like the Dundies, but e-skate undies.
Sure, we could do some funny ones too, like the biggest flop of 2020. But I don't know if you're familiar with the YouTuber MKBHD, does phone reviews, some technology reviews.
Yeah. No, I do. Yeah, he's got like the what's that hairstyle?
I don't know what it's called, but
you know what I'm talking about though, right? Like he's very iconic looking hairstyle.
Yeah, no, tall YouTuber.
Yeah,
really
he's a little lean
deep voice. Yeah, lean guy. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, so he does like kind of like a phone awards of every year, and he gets a big table and he puts all the phones out, and he does like all these different awards for these different metrics.
Yeah.
And it would be fun to do like a boards award type of situation.
You know what else would be really cool? There's the guy who like stress tests cell phones and like scratches them up. Jerry Rig, I think
don't have that kind of money, man.
You know what I'm talking about though?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
What if e-skate companies started sending their stuff to him or to us, and we would do that? We would just destroy them. Like, let's see how strong these urethane are, and just like, grind them up.
But if you want the real stress test, just let me ride it, and then eventually I'll get hit by a car.
No, we gotta get the moles, like scale of hardness, like, scratch the grip tape. And
no, man, I do, but that happens to me every few months. Like, my board's actually the only one that hasn't really taken a hit recently is the Meepo board. But the poor Boosted Stealth has just been getting gang banged by.
That's what I'm saying.
In the street.
Yeah, well, stop riding recklessly.
I guess I'm riding too reckless.
But yeah, I would love that. Let's get that kind of thing going on with the e-skate show.
We could have a guest host come on and help us with it too, like a new one every year. That would be a fun event, like an Emmy award type of situation.
All right,
I like it. I think we're onto something there. Related.
Yep.
Related. Next question: okay. Cali XLR or LaCroix Super Sport? Which one are you picking?
So I'm probably gonna go with the Cali, only because the Super Sport is the first rendition.
Sure.
Right. It's the first gear drive they've used.
True.
Whereas like Cali's been rocking gear drive
for a few years now.
True.
True.
They kind of innovated that.
Gotta love me some gear drive.
So I'll probably go with Cali just because they've have the tried and true proven method of using the gear drive.
Yep. But
the Super Sport's sexy.
It is.
It looks so nice. That deck, the grip tape, the motor covers. It looks good.
It's a delicious looking board.
But the price point is too much.
Yeah. No, and that
I think it's $6,000 for a board.
I mean, so is the XLR.
Yeah, but like
the battery in the XLR, and again, I don't remember the cells of either one off the hand, but the 20S8P is just like stupid.
Yeah,
but we used to think 12S12P.
That's true. Yeah,
we used to think 12S12P was like the end all be all battery.
Yeah,
and now we're out here with like 18S, 16S, 20S.
Well, and I guess the benefit of the Qua Super Sport is you'd have their 100D ESC in there.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be nice because it's like, well, that's their ESC.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a toss up. I'll give it to XLR just because it's tried and true.
Okay.
But I think next year, depending on if they keep improving the Super Sport, I'd probably go with that for next year.
Yeah, I would love to have
unless Cali does something like crazy and ups the game again.
I would love to have a couple guests on here knowledgeable about each subject about this topic.
Yeah.
Going in a whole.
We gotta get E-Skate Slut on here because he's probably gonna buy the Super Sport at some point.
Yeah, E-Skate Slut owns everything.
Yeah.
But my honest opinion is I'm genuinely curious about the profit margins of some of these high end boards and
that's a good point.
The economies of scale and the what's it called I'm drawing a blank here. So obviously there's some big competitors to high end PEV now,
right?
And I'm curious about like the vitality and the longevity. Those are the words I'm looking for. Of these high end boards to the point where you're just like, you know what, these boards are outpricing themselves.
Is the juice worth the squeeze?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Versus these economy boards, gearing up, they're getting beefier every year. They're also getting more expensive every year. But yeah, I'm curious about the business of e-skate. I'm curious about the economy of e-skate. I would love to have a dedicated episode with a couple knowledgeable hosts behind the scenes of like the business model.
Yeah, and if you think about it, like my boosted board, I've definitely gotten the value out of it.
Sure.
The motors have lasted, the batteries lasted, so stuff like that is important. But for some of the higher end boards where they're getting up into like the $6,000 range,
which is just outrageous.
Is that really worth couldn't you just theoretically get a worse battery and have it be like, I don't know, 600,000 or 600 less cycles, but you still get 2,000 cycles? So is it like really that big of a deal?
That's a question.
Yeah, it's stuff like that I do start to wonder when it gets up to those price points.
Yeah, and I've talked about this before, kind of how some of these boards deliver you the diminishing returns. The price goes up.
Yeah.
Oh, you get this much value out of a board for $800. Right. You get this much value out of a board $2,000. But beyond that $2,000, like the returns start becoming less and less, especially once you get like from $3,000 to $6,000 is like minuscule.
Yeah.
For most people. I'm genuinely curious about like sitting down as an investor and being like, okay, you're about to dump $100,000 into these boards. Nobody can afford them. Yeah. Anybody that already has a $3,000 board might not deem it worth it to get a $6,000 board.
Right.
And if they can, they're going to switch to EUC anyways. Those are the questions I want to know about.
Yeah, they'll either be like e-bike or whatever.
Right, yeah. The economies of
I don't know why, but if you think about it, like an e-bike just sounds like it's going to have a longer lifespan.
Sure.
I don't know why that is, because I'm like, well, I'm riding a bicycle that's like 20 years old. It's my dad's old bike. So like e-bike's probably going to last me 30 years too, right?
I'm just waiting.
But it's like, will it? I don't know.
I'm just waiting for e-bikes that have pedals on that you can just like really quickly take off and put like foot pads instead, because okay,
how many people are actually riding e-bike for the bike aspect?
In the high end, none of them.
Can
you imagine pedaling on Onyx? Like, are you kidding me?
That nobody's pedaling on Onyx.
No, certainly not. And I'm genuinely, I don't know, man. When I see an e-bike, I'm like, oh, that's awesome. And I see the pedals, and I'm like, oh, yeah, it's still a bike.
You look stupid.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I want foot pads. I want it to be an actual like electric motorbike. But I know that's a separate category, and that there's a whole title and insurance.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's not a fair comparison yet. But 5 years down the road, I think it'll be a thing.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Ooh. Name an e-skate accessory product that's overrated.
E-skate accessory product that's overrated.
Don't buy this is what I'm getting at from you. I don't have one in mind, so I'm not here.
Yeah, no, I know.
What's one where you're just like, you don't need this?
Wow, that's a tough one. Because a lot of the products out there are actually like pretty good. They all like serve a purpose.
I have one in mind because we've made fun of it off the air before.
Well, now I'm curious what you're thinking about.
I mean, I'll give you the T-ball one if you want.
Yeah, give me the T-ball.
Okay, that one wheel like mat that was like $50.
Oh my god, the one wheel mat that's not even an accessory. It's literally just a mud flap that they put a one wheel logo on.
I want to see like
if we're gonna consider if that's what we're talking about as far as accessories, then yeah, the one wheel Future Motion mat is stupid. It's a $45 plastic piece of crap.
It's just a mat. That's all it is. It's a mat, and it's not only $45; it's $15 shipping.
Okay, so again, I'm just gonna jump right into it like I did when they first released it. Just go out to Lowe's and buy a boot mud mat. You know, same thing. It's like half the price, and you can get it from any Lowe's, Home Depot, Ace Hardware. I don't know what hardware stores they have in the UK, but you go there and they got it there. I'm sure. It's not going to be the special one wheel shape, but it'll be square and it'll hold your one wheel or your pint or even your e-skate. You can probably get ones that are long enough to hold your e-skate.
These reviews on their website are mad sus.
Yeah, well, and like the reviews are like, love it, awesome, wow, what a great piece of crap. Like,
yeah, I don't know, I don't trust those, man.
So yeah, the one wheel mat. You're right.
Wheel mat.
That is a knock out of the park piece of crap.
What a joke! Stop that. Or don't charge $45 for it, or include it with the purchase.
Oh my god, yeah! If you included it with the purchase, I'd be like, all right. You just added some value to my one wheel.
My NLS Pro came with an e-skate stand that was basically a guitar stand. Now, if
it is a guitar stand,
but
it's now an NLS Pro stand.
Exactly. Yeah. But if they sold that for $45, I would call Kieran. I would literally call Kieran and be like, "What?
Listen, buddy,
what is you doing, brother? Stop that."
You know, I'm gonna laugh really hard in a month when X-Way and Meepo and everybody starts releasing their own mats. To hold their dirty all-terrain e-skates.
I'm gonna come out with like my own branded for like a quarter of the price, like
a terminal mat,
a terminal stand. Yep, exactly. And it's just gonna be a big like screw you to those overpriced options.
Yeah, that one wheel mat is just stupid. It doesn't make sense.
Of that too.
It doesn't make sense. Yeah, that was a good callback to like a year ago.
We were yelling about that to each other a couple years ago. Biggest beginner e-skate common mistake.
Biggest beginner e-skate common mistake.
Yeah, well, beginner common move mistake all the time.
Not knowing what different bolts do on your board. I don't know how many times I'll see people like super hardcore tighten their trucks, or like super hardcore tighten their wheels, and they're like, "Why are my bearings burning out?" And it's like, well. So I think just like understanding what a skateboard is.
Sure.
And it's the same thing with like a car. People buy a car and they're like, I just put gas in it, right? I don't have to change the oil or anything, right? Like I just put gas in it. I don't have to change the tires. That would be what?
Oh man.
So yeah, I think just understanding what a skateboard is.
Sure.
So many people, and it's gotten worse. They buy an e-skate. They're like, what does this mean? What does that mean? What do I do about this? What is that? It's like, didn't you do any research before you bought this like $500+ piece of equipment? Like, I don't go out and buy a pair of shoes without like, trying them on, like making sure they work, researching them, right?
Sure.
Like that's research for shoes. So why would you buy an electric skateboard if you've never ridden an electric skateboard or ridden a skateboard or ridden anything? Because there's a lot of people that just go out there and buy them. And that's fine, but like do your research, like figure out what a skateboard is, figure out what parts of a skateboard do, and like know how to maintain them. We have an episode from last year where we talk about e-skate maintenance. So like understand what e-skate maintenance is. It's not hard to learn. It takes 5 minutes to watch a YouTube video and know what e-skate maintenance is, and to know how to tighten trucks and know how to change your wheels. But just take the time to do it before you go on the internet and go, hey guys, my board's broken. Like, no, it's not. You just tighten the trucks too much. Like, yeah, that's my biggest beginner common mistake.
Okay, I'm with you on it. I definitely see that a lot too on the internet as well. So
Yeah.
100% agree. I've got 2 more questions here, and then I've got Official Terminal Mex
Has a question for us. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think it's a good question too. It's actually a good wrap-up question. To be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
If you had to pick EUC or e-bike to ride forever, you can never touch an e-board ever again. EUC or e-bike? I assume both of them are high end.
So have you seen those? Like, they're like a one wheel, but it's like got bike handles, and you know what I'm talking about?
Doesn't count. That doesn't count.
Okay.
I don't know what that is.
You haven't seen those?
I have. It looks.
I want to get one just because they're inexpensive. I don't want to take it to Shy Battery and see if they'll like put something insane in it. And then I want to like show up to a group ride and just like, clown car kind of ride it around. I think that'd be fun.
And that's what
but no, I would go with an
Okay.
e-bike.
Okay.
I would go with e-bike. I'd probably get like an Onyx or a Super 73 or even a Sauron.
Suron shots.
Yeah, those things are really cool. They're like the dirt bike of e-bikes.
I like their more
and they look
aggressive
cool.
stuff.
They look aggressive.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd probably go e-bike. I can't get behind I get EUC. I understand why people love it. I know they go fast. I know they have long range, but an e-bike is comfortable, and I know how to ride a bicycle. I'm not good at riding an EUC. I've tried, but an e-bike I know I can ride. And if I'm going to have to ride it for the rest of my life, I'd rather be comfortable than, have to stand
on 2 little pedals. And hope you don't fall forward.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm with you on
so
that.
e-bike.
Oh man, the EUC haters are going to be like, ooh, all up in
Well, and I don't have anything against EUC. If I'm going to be riding some for the rest of my life, I want to be able to sit down.
That's valid. See, that's a valid argument.
Yeah.
I would also say that like if I saw you on an Onyx and I saw you turn the corner, I'm going to be honest, like you're a pretty tall dude.
Yeah.
I could see you like tipping over. Because those Onyx bikes look really top heavy. The handlebar,
yeah, they might be.
The handlebars and the seats are the same plane. There's no like.
It's
adjustment.
that it's just that classic look though. It looks like a classic like Triumph motorcycle or something.
I guess I don't know. I even feel like
I guess
those have
that's
a
what I would
slightly
go.
lower seat though for aerodynamics.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, that's why you'd go with something like the Sauron.
And that's I want to see a beefier Sauron come to light. And that's something I would consider snatching up as a backup someday if I was ever like have an injury where I'm unable to like ride an e-skate ever again. Okay, who is the king of economy e-skate right now at the moment? Who's rolling in the dough? Who's got the clout?
Man, I don't know.
Regardless of your opinion of the company, who's king?
It's got to be up between Backfire and X-Way right now.
Mm-hmm.
I see a lot more people riding Backfire. I think Backfire is also on Amazon. And I don't think that X-Way is. So we'll do a quick search here on Amazon, but I'm pretty sure the Backfire is on Amazon, which is why I would argue that they're the king, because they're accessible.
I don't see them on there.
No, they're not. I know Meepo's on there now.
Meepo, I'm staring right at Meepo. That's pretty cool. Let's see if I want to.
But I don't think X-Way's on there. But I think it's either X-Way or Backfire. I really don't know which one.
You know who is on here though? Your favorite brands. Ready? Team G.
Oh yeah.
Adam.
Nice.
King with a Y instead of an I.
Yep. Oh yeah.
What is
super
that?
big budget brand
King.
right now. Mm-hmm.
I've never heard of
Oh
that.
dude, they're huge. Everyone's rocking the Kings.
Oh god. Blizzard, your favorite. Blizzard or
Yeah,
Blizzard.
Blizzard. Yeah. Of course.
We've got a brand on here. High Boy electric
Mhm.
skateboard.
Mm-hmm.
Razor X, the classic.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Skate Bolt.
Alright.
Skate Bolt's
Bolt.
on here.
Yeah. This is what I was talking about. Literally anybody can buy Team G's right now and rebrand them and put them on Amazon.
God, these are
That's
such
what they're all.
garbage.
They're all Team G clones
Oh my
or
goodness, these are so garbage.
Cool Wheel clones or whatever, but they're all clones of somebody.
Yeah.
They're like clones of economy boards.
We need, big PSA. Don't buy an electric skateboard on Amazon. I just don't.
Well, you can buy one, just get a Meepo.
That's about it. That's the only thing I trust on here. Like going through these are just painful, man.
Yeah.
Some of these are just hot garbage, and the prices they're going for,
Yeah,
and the reviews they have, it scares me. It really does.
Well, they're obviously like paid reviews, or they're kids that buy them, or parents that are buying them for their like children.
But like that scares me because
there's probably a little kid that's like, "Mom, I want an electric skateboard," and then she buys him like the $150.
$189,
whatever that thing,
two luck.
Yeah.
God.
So that's what all the youngins are probably getting, which is unfortunate.
Look at this 2,000 milliamp hour battery.
Ooh, milliamps.
2,000 milliamp hour battery. That's 2 amps.
It's,
6 to 8 miles of range.
Yeah, when you weigh like 12 pounds for sure.
And you don't use the motors. You just kick push. Yeah, you'll get about 6 to 8 miles.
Yeah, sounds right.
You've got a very powerful 350 watt motor.
I'm gonna go with Backfire.
Okay.
I think they're more prominent in the United States at least. And in Europe, I'd probably say X-Way. I think X-Way is bigger in Europe right now.
Interesting. We'll see what your answer is at the end of this year.
Yeah.
See what comes out.
Yeah. Let's see what happens. Maybe the X-Way Atlas will just shock everybody and be like the new boosted.
It could be. Well,
or boosted killer.
Oh God. Well, for the price.
Evolve killer, I guess in this case.
Well, for the price, yeah, we'll see. They're certainly killing balls. Now, final question.
Okay.
Coming from the audience.
Yep.
Where do you see the e-skate industry in the next 5 to 10 years? And this is a good question because we ask all of our guests this.
Yeah.
Or not all of them, but a lot of our guests. We ask this question.
We rarely go into detail ourselves.
Let's hear it. What do you think?
So I think we're going to see legalization across the board.
Hallelujah.
Everybody's going to legalize because as cars become electric, people are going to say, well, I can't afford a $40,000 electric car.
Valid.
What about this e-bike?
Right.
This e-bike looks pretty cool. And for those that aren't interested in bikes, they're going to say, well, I ride longboards. I only live in the city. I don't need to go, 100 miles. I just need to go to work and back. So I think in 5 to 10 years, it's going to be all electric cars and all electric vehicles, like personal electric vehicles. I think you're not going to see any gas in 10 years. I think gas is going to get phased out completely.
Interesting.
I think in countries like the Netherlands, it's all going to be e-bike, right? Like there's a lot of people that ride regular bikes in the Netherlands right now. But I think in like 5, 10 years, it's going to be all e-bike, all e-skate. Like there's going to be very few personal vehicles that you don't have electricity for.
Yeah.
And I think there's going to be a big company in the United States. There's going to be a big company in Europe, and there's going to be a big company in like Southeast Asia. And they're going to be like the only 3. I think at some point, like X-Way, Meepo, Backfire, they're all going to kind of get combined into one. And I don't know if that's going to happen in 5, 10 years. But I think it'll happen eventually. I think eventually one of them will either stop producing
or get bought out
by the other. And it's just going to be this big Southeast Asia company. There's going to be a big company in Europe, like BioBoards or something will come up with something to make them the like dominant board in Europe. And then in the United States, it'll be like Hoyt or Evolve or something. Like they'll be the only company in the United States.
Interesting. Like a Mad Max, like everybody owns their own territory.
Yeah, well, think about boosted, right? Like in the United States, there was a lot of e-skate, but everybody was riding boosted.
True.
Everybody. Every group ride was like 20 boosteds and like an Evolve, or like 30 boosteds and a Meepo.
Sure.
And then the Meepo guy would be like, "Oh, I'm just gonna get boosted because it's the powerhouse." So I think that's what's going to happen again. We're going to constantly go through these phases, like every 5 to 10 years, where you're going to get one company that just takes over, and they're like the dominant company in that region. And I think it's going to be a rotation. So every 5 to 10 years, it's going to rotate and be another big company that's like the dominant force.
Okay.
So I think right now we're in that gray area. We're like, who's going to take over? Who's going to be number one?
Okay. Yeah.
So time will tell.
Okay. I'm with you. That's a good in-depth analysis.
Yep.
I'm with you I'm sold on electric vehicles for like, I think they have enough range. I think we have more or less enough charging destinations, give or take a few areas. I would love to see faster charging from electric cars, but I think that's the only like major caveat I would ever have.
Well, and the thing is with electric cars though, you just top it off every day.
Oh yeah. Just zipping around town without a doubt.
But if you're doing like long range travel, I mean, I think a Tesla charges in like a couple hours. maybe less.
with certain charging
I think the
stations.
superchargers is like only an hour.
Yeah, so I could honestly
most people need an hour break in their road trip.
And I'm with you on that. Like, you stop and get lunch while you're charging it. If you go from 0 to 100, the only difference is like obviously your range plummets with the speeds, just like any vehicle. But yeah, I'm curious to see. I would like to see those charging times go up a bit. But I mean, in terms of just like putzing around town, yeah, I'm sold on Tesla. Like if I could get a Tesla tomorrow, I would.
Yeah, and I think one thing that's really cool about it is it's really good for the economy because one, people are stopping at charging stations for longer, so they have to get out and shop. They have to go get lunch.
I like where your head's at.
So it kind of stimulates the economy in that way. Whereas like right now, it's gas station food. You stop at the gas station, you get chips and a soda or Red Bull or whatever.
Right.
But it'll be cool when, charging stations for electric cars or e-bikes or whatever, it's going to be at like some local restaurants can be like, yeah, we put in some superchargers for all of these electric vehicle companies. That's because brilliant. We thought it would be good for the environment. We want people to come into our business and enjoy a good lunch. And, we got a special for people that are charging their vehicles, where we can guarantee they're going to be in and out in an hour.
There you go.
Stuff like that. So I think that's kind of where the industry's going in 5 to 10 years.
And I would love to see Tesla start a campaign, like a mix between a marketing and a business campaign, where they reach out to find local diners, small town restaurants or small town, shopping hubs, whatever it is, and reach out and be like, hey, we want to partner with you and put a fast charging setup in your guys' parking lot in your area. We'll do it at a discounted rate, or we'll offer some kind of like incentive to do this.
Subsidize,
and it's a win-win for the local economy, the local business owner, the drivers, of course.
Yep.
And now you have all of a sudden these people driving from New York and California. They're stopping at all these small town restaurants, and it's helping benefit the local economy. That's a really good. That's a really good
think
thought.
About too something that's like new to crypto. There's like these Wi-Fi stations that people plug into their houses, right? And it mines crypto based off of like network usage.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the names of them, but I've seen them on social media. But imagine when like me as a homeowner, maybe I live in the middle of nowhere. I'm like a rural homeowner.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I want to put a supercharger in at my house. And, you can charge your car there. It'll only be like 1 or 2 spots. But for those people that are like traveling out in the middle of nowhere where they can't charge their Tesla, now I can get a little bit of that money that they're paying for charging.
Sure.
And, Tesla can take their take or whatever, but, you can park on my property. I'll put a little, 4-car slot on my driveway or something, and you guys can charge here and I can make some extra money. So it'll be kind of like a decentralized network of charging stations.
Right.
Where maybe they're at restaurants, maybe they're at people's houses, but it'll be something like that, kind of spread throughout the entire United States or world at this point.
Could you imagine a Tesla supercharger for an e-board? Like just what that?
Oh man, it'd be so dope.
Just plug in like 5 minutes.
You like holster it inside this like cylinder, and it's like 5 minutes, boom, done.
Yep, crispy.
Oh man, that'd be dope. Yeah, it would suck to like degrade the cells, but I think at some point like battery technology will get over that, where cells don't degrade very much, if at any, and you can just fast charge like that. I think that would be insane. I think it's a possibility. I don't know enough about battery tech, but I'm gonna put on my optimist hat and say, yeah,
the future's here.
The future is here.
I love it. I love it. Well, those are all my questions I have for you. Obviously, we've already mentioned that we've got some big names that we're going to try to get on the show here, and of course, absolutely. As always, like you're more than welcome to reach out to us and give us drop some names or some topics that you want to hear more about. If we touched on something on the show, but you want to hear more about it in a future episode, please reach out to us.
Yep.
You can find us on social media at Electric Skatecast on Instagram. Yep. Of course, you can listen to us, which I'm assuming you're doing right now, anywhere you listen to your podcast, such as Spotify and Apple Music.
Yep. And our episode that we recorded a week ago, whatever it was, that is now live on all your podcast media.
Beautiful.
So
Beautiful.
That's kind of how we'll do it from moving forward. When this show goes live for the next episode.
Right.
So like, I don't remember the exact date, but when we record live next, this episode will then be live for you to listen to.
Okay.
So to try and encourage people to watch our live show, kind of get an early access.
Sure.
This will be, live. You can watch it now. and then a week later you get the recorded, edited version.
There you go.
So the last week one, that one was raw. I wasn't able to record or edit it because of the way that the audio glitched out during the YouTube process. But moving forward, we'll be able to edit it. So it'll be like the edited, final draft per se, that you'll be able to listen to wherever you get your podcast. So.
Beautiful. And then, of course, in addition to, following at Electric Skatecast on social media, you can follow the creator and the person I interviewed tonight at JGrandGR on Instagram. And then you can find me on Instagram as well at Official Terminal X. Is this weird for you, by the way? Me saying
it's weird.
All this stuff
Normally I say it exactly.
Yeah, and I'm kind of going from memory. I'm like,
what does he say?
I was like, what does he say next?
Yeah, it's a little different.
Yeah. But no, you can follow me on Instagram at Official Terminal X, where I have my own Instagram as well as a YouTube channel. But yeah, thank you guys for watching on the YouTube Live. We appreciate the support and all the feedback that we get.
Absolutely. It's a lot more enjoyable for us when we know that we have people listening to us live. And we love getting the comments and things like that. So it's
exactly,
we're excited to grow with you guys, and we're happy to have you be part of our community. And until next time, wear a helmet, ride safe. And remember, guys, it is Hot Guy Summer.
Is it?
It's Hot Guy Summer. Yeah. So everybody rock your avocado shirts, your J Balvin Inside Out hoodies or whatever they are. Just get out there and ride and look good doing it. We're super excited for this season. In a couple weeks, we are going to be interviewing SoCal Legend.
What?
So look for that. That is going to be live.
Big name.
It's going to be our first live interview. So that one's going to be really cool. But yeah, SoCal Legend will be on the show. We'll be asking him all the fun questions that we can come up with, and hear a little bit more about like Evolve and Ruroc and what he's up to. So yeah, look forward to listening to us interview SoCal Legend in the next few weeks.
Oh, gonna be a good time. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody for listening, and we'll talk to you all on the next episode.
Yep.